Seguimos en CTI Aguado desde 2011, esta vez nos visita una empresa que ustedes conocen de sobra, se llama Tellabs, y estamos en este caso con Stuart Bennington, que es el director de Global Portfolio Strategy de Tellabs. Stuart, welcome to Telesemana.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Likewise, good to see you again. I think we met in the past.
That's right,
last year. So tell me what has changed from last year to this year, what Tellabs is showing the operators here, what is the emphasis given the fact that we are hearing again and again the data tsunami, capacity constraint.
Yes,
okay,
exactly. So Tellabs' emphasis has continued to be focused on migrating networks, mainly from circuit to packet technology in the backhaul, and with our packet core functions going from 3G to LTE. So we've just announced the LTE functionality on our packet core.
Okay.
In addition to that, we've announced enhanced packet Ethernet functionality on our backhaul products. So yes, the capacity of the network is growing. Yes, it's all the data tsunami and all the things that are growing with it. And so what our emphasis has been is not just to add brute force of bandwidth and bigger nodes and things like that. Yes, you need to do that, but you also need to be smarter about how you manage the bandwidth. So doing things like distributing intelligence in the network, adding content awareness to be able to differentiate among types of traffic and manage those in different ways because they behave in different ways. So it's being smarter, not just growing bigger.
Okay. Tell us about the technologies, because we're seeing a lot of movement on how operators are configuring their backhaul networks. Yes. We're hearing, for example, in Latin America, IP and PLS being one technology, but we're also hearing combining that with Ethernet at certain layers.
Yes.
Tell us, how you see the future of all these backhaul technologies integrated with each other and where.
That's right, yeah, and it gets very complex. Both Ethernet and IP MPLS we believe are very important for the evolution. In many cases, IP MPLS is carried over Ethernet, so they go together as well as being complementary. A lot of it depends on the service layer, and by that I mean the IP layer, which is where all the services are ultimately going. And how do you best manage that? How do you scale it? And how do you accommodate performance in a way that best serves the end user? So Ethernet is well understood. It's a technology that's fairly simple to deploy. Yeah. However, it's more a means of getting data from here to there, as opposed to...
It has some limitations, right?
It has limitations, that's right. But having said that, it's a very useful tool to complement the IP layer, and this is where IP MPLS comes in, where you can start to do more intelligent management of the traffic. It's been deployed in backhaul for many years now, and the question is, how does that continue to evolve with Ethernet and also with other emerging technologies like MPLS-TP, OTN, in some cases on the optical layer. So there's many different technologies. It all gets back to what works the best for the operator, what works the best for the end users, and then how do operators manage that technology interaction for cost reduction and for new revenue opportunities.
Okay. Last year we attended an event that was done by Tellabs in Argentina.
Yes.
There we had some demonstrations, and one of the graphs that we saw was related to an architectural environment where routers were being kind of removed from the equation. The reduction of routers was one of the key themes of that meeting.
Yes, yes.
Because of the way the internet behaves these days. So tell us how that's progressing in terms of, is actually the router dying?
Yeah, and so I would make two key points. One is, no, the routers aren't dying. Again, the service layer is all managed through IP, so you need routers. Having said that, we believe there are intelligent, efficient ways to manage the network where you don't necessarily have to access every single router hop, because routers can be expensive and the ports can be expensive. So how do you do that? You manage that through coupling the transport layer with the service layer and only sending the traffic where you need to go. You have to be careful not to compromise the scalability of the routed network, but having said that, with the right transport technology, you can do efficient optimization of traffic to minimize the hops. Okay. I'll make one other point, which is the other transformation that's happening is the pure routed network is evolving to where it's a balance between just staying with traditional routing and moving toward data centers and storage, and you have hosted capacity, and you have the cloud computing dynamic and so forth. So that's a topology change that we have to keep in mind, because it's been present in the fixed line networks for a long time. Now it's starting to make its way into the mobile networks, and so mobile operators have to adjust for that dynamic, as well as the transition from 2G to 3G to 4G, and how does that come and take place. So those those two pieces.
Now, I had a discussion with somebody from the Metro Ethernet forum. Obviously, they defend Ethernet.
Ethernet, yeah, strange.
So, yeah, it's strange attitude.
Yeah.
So actually, he said that in the future, we might see a phase out of all technologies and have end-to-end Ethernet. Not tomorrow or not in the next 5 years, but it's kind of a natural step to just go Ethernet all the way. And even if you were a greenfield operator today with nothing on your backhaul network because you didn't have any network at all, probably Ethernet would make a lot of sense to go, although some of the invisibilities that it has.
Yes, yes.
Would you agree with that view? If so, why? And if not, why not?
I believe that Ethernet is a very important technology, and Ethernet is going to be one of the long-term technology winners. It's already winning in a lot of places. Having said that, I think there's two issues that need to come into the practical implementation. Issue one is, again, the IP layer really is where the services reside. So you have to look at it from separating the service layer from the transport layer and what's happening in different places. And they are somewhat different, but they can be complementary. The second thing is, as we know, if you're not talking about a greenfield environment, the legacy infrastructure has been around, it will continue to be around. In many cases, operators have an incentive for it to be around because it works and it's profitable and there's no incentive to why get rid of it. Yeah, there's many other things to spend your money on. Yeah. But having said that, there is some truth to the fact that Ethernet will probably be one of the most common technologies end to end, and it will just be supplemented by what's happening at the IP layer, what's happening at the optical layer, and then how do you manage the legacy traffic in addition to the Ethernet traffic.
What about the clocking and synchronization of Ethernet? Is that completely ready for prime time? Because that's probably one of the limitations that we find with Ethernet.
Yeah, that's been one of the challenges, and in many cases, it's been more of a comfort level for operators. So the technology can be mature, but operators aren't necessarily comfortable, so that may, at some point, slow the pace of deployment. But having said that, with advancements in 1588 and synchronous Ethernet and so forth, the technology is much more mature. Okay. There's interoperability. We use it quite a bit in our deployments in the backhaul, and so we believe the technology is suitable for what carriers need. And today, yes.
What portion, because that's more related to Tellabs, what portion of your business it relates to Metro Ethernet? It's a big chunk of your
it's a big
MPLS or other technologies occupy more of your time in terms of deployment?
It's both, and in many cases, like I said, the IP/MPLS technology resides over, is carried over Ethernet facilities. So there's a mix of Ethernet isn't, we would argue, necessarily a substitute for IP/MPLS. In some cases, there's an overlap, but more and more, it's a substitute for traditional TDM infrastructure.
Okay.
So, for example, you see Ethernet microwave replacing SDH microwave. You see Ethernet facilities to the radio replacing T1s and E1s. Yeah. So that's more of the dynamic that we see. We believe IP/MPLS has been robust. It's been a widely deployed technology for us, and it complements Ethernet in such a way of managing the service layer over an Ethernet infrastructure.
All right. Well, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
We hope next time I can start my question without mentioning the data tsunami, because I'm getting a little bit kind of tired of just saying data tsunami.
Yeah, exactly. I promise I won't mention it either.
It's my fault, but
exactly.
All right.
That's good. Thank you.